rare candies, a look at Pokemon history.
Bill the Pokemon Liar. Here at Unknown Era Films, we like to take a lot of liberties when poking fun at the beloved Pokemon anime by comparing it to the handheld games, even though the two are vastly different. I was a kid once, playing my copy of Pokemon Red trying to catch them all, while watching Ash and his friends go on their epic journey. But even as a young, misguided kid, yes, that's actually me, I was a cute motherfucker, I began to see some issues between the two. And all these can be explained in episode 13, Mystery at the Lighthouse. At the beginning of the episode, Misty and Brock are giving Ash a hard time about not catching many Pokemon. So what does he do? He goes out to find the biggest, baddest one to catch. A Krabby. God damn it, Ash. As soon as he catches it, the Pokeball disappears, and is informed that you are only allowed to carry 6 Pokemon at one time. I can see what the writers of the anime were trying to do. Use different elements from the game to keep it connected to the show, so that all the children would feel like they're playing along. But I think we can all agree that the show is its own thing with its own rules. This creates a lot of conflict and confusion when comparisons are made, and when the show tries its hardest to stay tied to the rules of the game. Hell, just look at the comments of our old bullshit gym battles video and you'll get to the point of why this is a problem. Later on in the episode, Ash and the gang come across an old lighthouse where they meet Bill, the famous Pokemon researcher. He explains to Ash that there are only about 150 discovered Pokemon in the world. Now at the time, this was true. Pokemon Gold and Silver weren't released until over 2 years after this specific episode had aired. Both the inclusion of Ho-Oh and Togepi, it's pretty clear that they had big plans to add more Pokemon. But god damn it, Bill. Really? Only 150 Pokemon? Gen 2 introduced 100 new Pokemon. Gen 3, 135. Gen 4, 107. Gen 5, 156. And Gen 6, 72. That's a total of 721 discovered Pokemon in the world. So then either you've been cooped up in that fucking lighthouse for way too long, or you forget that you live in a world with technology that lets you FaceTime with anyone, anywhere. So you better get that old Windows 98 computer booted up and Skype your homies over in the Johto region for once. Which brings me to my final point. Am I the only one that doesn't understand how none of the established Pokemon regions have ever talked to each other? That in the Kanto region, they just think that there are only 150 Pokemon in the world, but just one area over, they discovered 100 new ones and haven't told anyone? Does Professor Oak not think of calling up Professor Juniper and asking her how the research in Unova is going, so that she can tell him that they discovered a Pokemon that's literally made of trash, and another one that's just a fucking ice cream cone? The Pokemon world logic just doesn't make sense. This makes later seasons so hard to understand, because Ash thinks he's finding brand new Pokemon, but when in reality, everyone in those regions have lived with them for decades. I thought professors were supposed to be smart, but apparently none of them know how to use a phone. Also, why does Kanto only have 150 Pokemon? But Kalos contains every Pokemon under the sun. You want to be a Pokemon master? Move to fucking Kalos, man. Now before you all jump to conclusions with your comments, I will say that it's obvious that the creators couldn't have possibly known those many years ago how big the brand of Pokemon would be, or the fact that to stay relevant they would have to continually update the game every year. This happens to every series. But I won't lie, that I'm kinda jealous of my younger self. Only having to know 150 Pokemon and not have to follow this series with all its weird, confusing, and conflicting problems, man, that was the sweet life. Thanks for checking out this episode, and I just wanted to let you know that a group from 4chan actually got together and made a Pokemon fan game. I checked out the demo and it's pretty freaking sweet. There will be a link in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. And let us know if you want us to review it or maybe play it sometime. In the meantime, I'm just going to sit back and do what I do best. Think about butts. And by butts, I mean Kevin. I see you there, Kevin. You're looking hot, dude. Also, one more thing. Bill, the mysterious Pokemon you kept trying to call from the lighthouse, it was a fucking Dragonite. I knew that when I was 8 years old and had the handbook. Also, Ash fights one in the Orange Island series. Not so mysterious after all, so you can stop diddling around and do your job, bro.